match is accomplished, the portal is open. We are the fifth element, being comprised of earth, flesh, water, mucus, air, breathe, fire, blood, and the fifth, which is the divine breath, likened unto fire, none can produce save the Most High. Many have tried, and reasonless abominations they continue to bring forth when practicing, as doctors and magicians tend to call their art of non-perfection. One of the real reasons this is happening is the Most High has decreed all will eventually return to the source, and it does not exist in time, thus it is extremely patient. It also says it is sufficient enough to rule its creations and does not need representatives that claim to magnify but in all actuality block the way. If man or woman wanders off the true path, they easily lose focus by being divided amongst gods vying for power, splitting the person's energy at least three ways, which they call the Trinity. Instead of following these gods who want sacrifices and servants all the time, I went to look for something that is not as petty and sadistic, and guess what, I found it, and I'm giving it to you. When you give something good out, you get the same in return. That is what we were supposed to do, no matter what everyone else is doing. Just remember, if they don't know the code, their entire form as it exists before you is being affected in more ways than you can even conceive, so you can afford to give those you have grudges against a pass. This is prehistory, however. Gods abound across the globe in various lands, and they are increasing. This is because the term God is being used so loosely, you even have people saying that they are God. I know the popular argument is God is experiencing itself through us. This is another one of those things that just sounds good and is never questioned. The Most High brought forth all experience from itself and shared it with us as a gift. There is no need for the Most High to live through us. I'm sure better things are entertainment for an all-powerful being building multiple galaxies with a spiral force than playing The Sims with its human creations. The truth is, sayings like this are fuel for the ego, which can make us think a little too much of ourselves while still not in constant contact with the Most High. We are living in a society where most things related to paranormal and esoteric matters that have been proven are still hidden from us. Imagine our maturity rate compared to freed societies. With the entities, the stronger eventually becomes the victor, and they are warlike gods. The Most High is not involved in such debased and petty things. This is the key to proper distinguishment. With the gods, their strength comes in numbers. Those numbers are individual souls who get caught up in the religion and die with it freshly on their mind and aura. It's time you finally get the truth, so you can be what your dreams used to say you were when you were a child, traveling worlds with endless imagination, creating things in your perfect undistorted image. 54 PAGE. I will make it clear, if it wasn't for the brain screwing by those sinister groups that administer medical drugs and procedures, cartoons, candies, toys and education to kids while they are in their most sensitive growing phases, naturally we would have a beautiful world full of joy. For those that came out ill, they would be showered with love and positive vibration. This would bring up their frequency, thus curing them. Simple. So there is someone to point a finger at, and this is exactly why the New Age movement has hatched, because people once again are rising up as the burden is getting heavy. One now has to work 2 or 3 jobs to keep things going, not to mention their habits, and they are tired of this, and with just cause. Silently we know this is not our fault, and when I found the code in the language at that moment, I knew it wasn't the people's fault. Before then, religion had me thinking that it was because they didn't worship the right God, so they were suffering, or it was some past karma from another life, so they were paying in this life. I would silently think, what, can we be sure of that? Reason 38. There can be no doubt the elite are implanting the children with corrupt ideas. They propagate and insinuate war while the child is still growing. Thus it becomes more natural later on in life. It is no surprise to see the dragon and skulls mixed in with this poor child's cache of death-dealing plastic. This is what I came to stop, the misinterpretation of the Most High, and I give my life proudly exposing everything that I can to make the world better and to restore the power to the people for free. Why not? It is a noble deed. What else do we really have if we lose the earth and don't know where our next home will be? People expect the afterlife to be some big happy festival where something invites you into a higher realm with rivers of warm honey and milk, streets of fine affairs gold with 55 PAGE. Gems and diadems running through the current of sweet water cool to the touch as compatible mates are all around you basking in the glow of the god. You can see how that can lull a person into a deeper sleep than they already are in. What is being described here is something you can have on earth. The real heaven is much more, if you but knew. Medical drugs are now, according to rehabilitation institutions, far worse than street drugs. This is not suggesting one should use street drugs, however, we should find it daunting that our organization formed to look after our health are actually the orchestrators of a slow mental and physical arsenic death cycle. It is now known that Alzheimer's disease, the disease that makes the elderly forget all their precious memories, is mainly accredited to the cocktail of drugs given to them prescribed by the doctors intentionally. These drugs contain high amounts of mercury which melts the brain as chemical ether melts the soul away. Even the word retire tells a person to go back to sleep. Incredible. The chemicals in baby formula are mostly metals exhausting the child's natural nutrients like enzymes in which never develop again once they are depleted. Reason 39 This man was prescribed all these drugs over time for chronic pain. The more he would take the more they would prescribe. Since the doctor is only interested in billing the insurance company they don't really care. The medicines in fact cause the continuous pain. Many of the individuals who work for the organizations that administer these things are unaware from the sense that they have been compartmentalized in the mind. The dream of being the doctor with the white coat, sloppy handwriting, Rolex, and BMW infested the grid that we all plug into. Compartmentalization is done through the language. It takes at times thousands of years to alter a language, and since words are really vibration, the actual true meaning can never be destroyed. You feel it through emotion. Of course, many things will be exposed and made known to the reader that is riveting. I would only ask that one should not concentrate on what they do not know but rather what they will and should know. When something is introduced that is new, it is oftentimes rejected at first. This rejection is really fear. It seems we often forget that this is how we learned everything that we, 56 page, know right now. At first it was new, then you learned and practiced it, and some things you even perfected. New always equals fear at first, something like your first on-stage recital, especially if you had a speaking role. I will tell the reader now, nothing will be the same after you finish this book. It cannot be. The world itself will open for you and you will be given back what we have unknowingly given up or lost, which is true choice. I will also say that what I offer is the truth, nothing more. It is the person's own unique decision, after it has been restored, that although the facts will be made clear beyond doubt, to ultimately believe and react to what surrounds you at every moment is your own individual responsibility. The system itself is comprised in a way to make the individual feel a dependency upon it and a false love for it. This is what keeps an illusion solid. This becomes the key to determining whether or not you are prepared for ascension during this lifetime or whether you need to come around the loop again. So wasting no time at all, you may accompany us in a journey through the rabbit hole. Trust we know our way around as true light does at times pass through the lower regions of Hades as a box is the final residence of all foolish men, kings included. The word, how this all came about, this thing we call the Matrix, was through a play of words. Language is the Microsoft Windows or Unix for the brain. The Bible says, "In the beginning was the Word." This did not mean the whole book because it would have read in the beginning there was a book, but instead it refers to an actual word that can create things. This ability is referenced here in the first book known as Genesis. Since we are in the image of the Creator, we can do smaller versions of the same thing depending upon how well we understand the ability and how to use it. Although the need to create a new world word is now at hand, the gap between creating multiple worlds and creating the things within worlds is vast. Thus the original keepers of this knowledge used this ability to form many things after the first creation. We will call them secondary creations. These secondary creations were not created by the Most High but created by the beings the Most High created. This is of value to remember how to distinguish one from the other. Through the real Kabbalah, that four-letter word, and its many formulations were made known to a few men, and that gave the original man the ability to step onto the level as baby creators. The word Kabbalah itself means oral resuscitation.